Imagine coming back from the war, and you are not able to settle into normal life as the sounds of gunshots and bomb blasts still ring in the air, and your body still yearns for the rush and thrill of war. This is what happened to many of the soldiers who had gone to fight in World War II, fighting for democracy. As the monotony of everyday life grew tedious, many of these veterans longed for the rawness of the battlefield. These men, haunted by their war memories, turned to motorcycling as a substitute for the danger and excitement they experienced during the war. And as the motorcycling's popularity soars, with a surge of new members joining seasoned riders, it sets the stage for an epic rally in a small Californian town. However, the quaint and serene town is not prepared for the unfathomable chaos that is about to unfold. On July 3, 1947, motorcyclists revived their gypsy tour, which was canceled for some time due to the Second World War. The festivities commence in the town of Hollister. However, the popularity of motorcycles surges, leading to an overwhelming attendance and becoming a major issue. Nearly 4,000 motorcyclists storm into Hollister, practically doubling the population of the tiny town. These daredevils hail from all corners of California and even travel from as far as Connecticut and Florida. The streets fill with the rumble of engines as motorcycle groups like the 13 Rebels, Pissed Off Bastards of Bloomington, the Booze Fighters, the Market Street Commandos, the Top Hatters Motorcycle Club, and the Galloping Goose Motorcycle Club take over the scene.
Here I must say, while doing the research, it's obvious that not everything the media is reporting is true. Some of the media outlets simply can't stand men riding their bikes and enjoying their freedom. So as it seems, here's where the story takes a wild turn. Hollister just isn't prepared for the sheer magnitude of this biker invasion. You see, in the years before the war, the gypsy tour hadn't attracted such a massive crowd, so the town is ill-equipped to handle this rowdy biker army.
At first, the locals welcome the bikers with open arms. The bars buzz with excitement as these rebels bring in a roaring business. But as the night wears on, things take a nosedive. Some of the motorcyclists had too much to drink and decide to show off their riding skills through the narrow streets of Hollister. Chaos ensues. Fights break out, bars suffer damage, and beer bottles fly out of windows like there's no tomorrow. It's a scene straight out of a wild Western movie. The housing situation also becomes dire, with bikers resorting to sleeping on sidewalks, in parks, haystacks, and even on people's lawns. By the evening of July 4th, their behavior has spiraled out of control. Could it be that the police are not on the ground to handle the situation? The small police force in Hollister, consisting of only 7 officers, is not ready for the amount of drunken bikers in their town. In an attempt to control the motorcyclists' activities, the police resort to threatening the use of tear gas and arresting as many intoxicated individuals as possible. The bars also take measures to curb excessive drinking by refusing to sell beer and voluntarily closing 2 hours earlier than usual. Eyewitnesses describe the scene as one hell of a mess. But here's the thing. They also note that the motorcyclists aren't exactly causing massive trouble on purpose. Sure, they rev their engines, whoop and holler, but they aren't really intending to hurt anyone or deliberately wreak havoc. It's more like they're just enjoying the freedom of the open road, causing a ruckus along the way. But the chaos doesn't fizzle out overnight. It persists until July 5th, gradually subsiding as the rallies come to an end and the motorcyclists start making their way out of town. They leave a mess behind. The streets of Hollister are strewn with thousands of beer bottles and all sorts of debris. Some storefronts even suffer minor damage as a result of the wild festivities. The police arrest approximately 50 people, primarily for misdemeanors such as public intoxication, reckless driving, and disturbing the peace. There are around 60 reported injuries, including 3 serious cases like a broken leg and skull fracture. But the damages done by the Hollister riot go far beyond. Little does anyone know, the riot lays the foundation for one of the most notorious criminal organizations in the world. The news of the Hollister riot spreads, creating a sense of fascination and intrigue around motorcycle gangs. The media portrays these bikers as wild and lawless, amplifying the image of the outlaw biker and captivating the public's imagination. This newfound attention serves as a catalyst for the rapid expansion and intensification of motorcycle gang activities across the country. The Hollister riot becomes a pivotal moment that solidifies the rebellious reputation of motorcycle gangs, encouraging them to embrace their outlaw status. It inspires other towns and cities to host similar gatherings and rallies, leading to a surge in motorcycle club participation and a proliferation of their unconventional behavior. Rogue motorcyclists causing havoc in small towns such as Hollister do not comfort Americans still recovering from World War II and scared of the impending Cold War. The nation starts to fear motorcycle hoodlums and potential rampages. And it was during this time that the AMA, trying to defend the reputation of its association and members, made a press release stating that the trouble was caused by the 1% deviant that tarnishes the public image of both motorcycles and motorcyclists, and going on to say that 99% of bikers are law-abiding citizens, and the 1% are nothing more than outlaws. The AMA's statement labeling non-compliant motorcycle clubs as outlaws inadvertently further fueled the defiance and sense of identity among the emerging 1%ers. This distinction solidified their rebellious image and attracted individuals seeking a sense of belonging and nonconformity. Although the AMA later denies making this statement, it was already too late as the monster bearing such name was already rearing its head. The term caught on and new outlaw motorcycle gangs emerged, embracing the concept of being referred to as the 1%ers. This is where the story gets really interesting. As a result, in the mid-1960s to 1970s, a surge of outlaw motorcycle gangs emerges across the country and creates their own association, which they proudly call 1%ers. Within the association, each club can have its own rules, operate independently, and are given a designated territory. The outlaw motorcycle clubs, the Hells Angels, Pagans, Outlaws, and Bandidos, emerge as what authorities refer to as the Big Four, with hundreds of other 1%ers clubs existing within the subculture. According to the AMA, any motorcycle club that does not adhere to AMA rules is considered an outlaw motorcycle club. In this case, the term outlaw does not imply criminal or illegal activity. Others, including some outlaw motorcycle clubs, believe that while all outlaw motorcycle clubs are considered 1%ers, meaning they do not follow AMA rules, not all outlaw motorcycle clubs engage in illegal activity. The Department of Justice does not distinguish between outlaw motorcycle gangs, or clubs, and 1%ers. It defines 1%er outlaw motorcycle gangs as highly organized criminal organizations whose members utilize their motorcycle clubs for conducting criminal enterprises. You can distinguish biker clubs even further, the support clubs. These clubs have minor to moderate involvement in criminal activities and maintain a relationship with a larger 1%er club for protection and reputation enhancement. For example, the Red Devils MC falls under this category. The satellite clubs. Members of these clubs are created and controlled by larger 1%er clubs. They serve as sources for recruiting new members to the larger clubs. The members of a satellite club also perform tasks related to the criminal activities of the larger club. An example of a satellite club is the MC, Brigade 81. The regional clubs. These clubs have limited membership and territory. They may or may not claim 1%er status and usually have some connections to larger 1%er clubs. The Devil's Disciples MC is an example of a regional club. The larger 1%er clubs. These clubs, such as the Hells Angels MC and Mongols MC, hold the top position in the criminal hierarchy within the outlaw biker world. They have significant influence over the dynamics of the subculture. Interclub relations within the outlaw biker culture are intricate. The affiliations between clubs can signify either a temporary alliance, primarily observed among large clubs, or a situation where a small local club partially surrenders to a larger international club. While some regional clubs have abandoned their 1% logos, they still maintain the characteristic aggression, impulsiveness, and deep personal loyalties that define the outlaw biker culture. Satellite clubs play a role as a disposable criminal workforce for the larger clubs and serve as testing grounds for individuals aspiring to join prominent international clubs. In the United States, outlaw motorcycle gangs are predominantly comprised of white members, except for the largely Chicano Mongols MC. But how did the civil world in America react to those wild days in Hollister? The Hollister riot gains national attention as media coverage of the event increases. Shortly after the 4th of July weekend, the San Francisco Chronicle publishes 2 articles titled "Havoc in Hollister" and "Hollister's Bad Time," describing the incident as pandemonium and terrorism. However, these reports fail to instill panic among citizens in the California area, as other significant news, including local labor strikes, is concurrently taking place. A few weeks later, an article appears in the July 21, 1947, issue of Life magazine, expanding the reach of the initial reporting. The article, featured in the photojournalism section of Life, heavily relies on vivid images and explanatory text. It occupies a single page, with a nearly full-page photograph positioned above a 115-word text insert. The headline reads, "Cyclist's Holiday, He and Friends Terrorize Town." The prominent photograph, captured by Barney Peterson of the San Francisco Chronicle, depicts an intoxicated man sitting atop a large motorcycle, holding a beer bottle in each hand, surrounded by numerous empty and broken bottles. The man is later identified as Eddie Davenport, a member of the Tulare Riders Motorcycle Club. But did the riot and chaos end in Hollister? Definitely not. The outbreak of the one percenters in the form of the Hollister Riot in 1947 serves as a profound inspiration for the iconic film The Wild One. Released in 1953, the movie stars Marlon Brando in the role of Johnny Strabler, the rebellious leader of a motorcycle gang. It is widely regarded as a classic that effectively captures the spirit and subculture of motorcycle riders during that era. The Wild One draws its inspiration from the events of the Hollister Riot, particularly the chaotic gathering of motorcyclists and the ensuing mayhem that unfolds in the town. While the film does not directly depict the specific incidents of the Hollister Riot, it encapsulates the atmosphere and rebellious nature that permeated that time. The plot revolves around Johnny Strabler and his gang as they descend upon a small town, wreaking havoc and challenging the authority of the local residents. By capturing the essence of the rowdy motorcyclist subculture, The Wild One becomes a cultural touchstone and a defining representation of motorcycle gang culture in the 1950s. The movie contributes significantly to the enduring image of the outlaw biker and fuels the fascination surrounding motorcycle subcultures. Its impact extends beyond the silver screen, influencing popular culture, fashion trends, and the public's perception of motorcyclists. And now it is evident that the Hollister Riot is a pivotal moment that solidified the rebellious reputation of motorcycle gangs, inspiring other similar gatherings and rallies across the country. It triggered a shift in public perception, as motorcycle gangs went from being viewed as a fringe subculture to iconic symbols of rebellion and adventure.